Hi, it's me, Jenna, with Later But Louder. And today I want to talk about reason three, why you're feeling stuck in midlife, why things just are not, you feel like you've lost your spark, things just aren't where you want them to be. And so reason three is that you may have failed to let go of old roles that no longer suit you. And what do I mean by this? I mean that by the way, you can catch up on any of the previous ones that you've missed in the link below because I talk about reasons one and two down there. But by this, reason three is that you've lost you're hanging on to roles that are no longer suiting you. And what do I mean by this? I mean that sometimes we tend to, throughout life, just take on different roles that we're not necessarily even wanting to take on. They just become part of who we are, right? So we can hear, for instance, like, well, you're the oldest child. That means that you're supposed to XYZ. You're supposed to be the responsible one, right? We know all the stereotypes about oldest children. Or like my role, I'm the youngest. I'm supposed to be like irresponsible and not really know what I want to do in life and all this stuff. And while all of that may have been true at one point, um, you know, that's one role that I, for instance, in my personal life, have refused to continue to own because it's no longer who I am. And so in my process of self-discovery, and I'm going to tell you this, so hopefully it's helpful to you, I've had to look at these different roles that we play and just kind of say, I want to hold on to this role, or I'm choosing to let go of this role because it may have fit at some point in the past, but it doesn't fit who I am now. It doesn't necessarily just have to do with birth order or, your role in the family or anything like that. It can also have to do with, um, responsibilities that you had previously. If you have children, you're not necessarily ever going to stop being mom, but your role as mom now that the kids are grown is going to look a lot different than it did when they were smaller, right? So that's another example. Your reputation, that's not really the word I'm looking for, but kind of you're sometimes known for certain things. So if you held really firm to certain beliefs, sometimes it's easy to not even still have those same beliefs. You just become known as the woman that believes this or that. And so sometimes other people in our lives don't really give us, we perceive that they don't give us permission to grow and change. And so we may become known as, that woman who always does XYZ, or that woman who believes um, a certain belief, even if through a lot of soul searching and examining things, you've changed your mind and you no longer believe the same things that you did. We are entitled to do that, right? I mean, we're entitled to say, like, okay, this used to be my identity, so to speak, but now I am choosing to no longer own this. And I think sometimes we can get a lot of flack from people um, just for daring to change the rules, so to speak, when they're identities that, I mean, it's my identity. I get to choose what it is, right? And so if something doesn't suit me anymore, I think I have the total right to say, and you should too, to say that's no longer who I am. Um, I'll give you an example. I've been divorced for over 20 years. So I consider myself a single woman. I think for a while I was like, oh, I'm a divorcee, I'm divorced. I don't even, that was so long ago. I don't even hold on to it as an identity anymore. Um, it's not like I was never with him. I wish it was, but that's not the case. So, but it's kind of like the identity piece of, being a divorced woman, what that connotation implies. So that's, and maybe not so much now as it used to be, but that's just one example of where I might say, this is a role that was put on me by society, and I choose to own. I mean, I'm not living in fantasy land. Yes, I did get divorced a long time ago, but that's not really even part of my identity anymore. Part of, part of that is that it happened so long ago that ancient history. But another part of it is that that role, or that the expectations behind what that looks like, are things that I'm refusing to own. And that may not even be realistic. That may be prior things that I've believed that weren't even what society was trying to put on me. So there's another thing to consider. If your roles that you're feeling like are actually put on you by others are actually expectations you're putting on yourself, or like, oh, they must be looking at me a certain way because I am XYZ. Maybe they're not looking at you at all. Maybe you're looking at yourself with a critical lens, thinking that other people, kind of projecting it on other people, that they must be looking at you a certain way, when the truth is people are largely doing what they do, their own thing. They're not necessarily worried about you or what you think or what they think of you. One of my favorite sayings of all time is, you spend the first half of your life wondering if others like you, and you spend the second half of your life wondering if you ever liked them. And so that's kind of the motto I live by now when I feel like, a little bit self-conscious, a little bit like, what are other people thinking of me? What are people thinking of me making these YouTubes? Um, Obviously, if I was doing a different kind of YouTube, I might think differently about it, something to feel embarrassed or ashamed about. But in this case, where it's just empowering other women like myself to live life on their best terms in the second half, I feel like if somebody finds it and watches it, so be it. Hopefully it'll be helpful. And if I'm not helpful, then hopefully they'll just move on. But old me might have been too self-conscious to get on video and even talk about it. So there's another example of like, old me might have said, I'm not the kind of person that can show up on video. And so that's what I want to ask you and challenge you today, is like, where have you been afraid to show up in life because it's an old role that you're holding on to, or something that you're holding on to that you think others expect of you, whether it's true or not? Or if they really do expect it, maybe you need to sit down and talk to them about how the rules need to change. And then also keep my words in mind too, that that may be an expectation that nobody really has of you, that you're putting it on yourself and thinking others believe it when they don't necessarily. So that's it for this video. Maybe I'll make a worksheet to go with this, to talk about kind of different areas that you can be talking about, or thinking about, that are things that are no longer you in different areas of life. And yeah, I'm just thinking of this as I talk, but it might be helpful to see the concept in action. Um, and get a feel for some of the things that I'll talk about if you're ever interested in coaching, or thinking that you need some guidance to really work through these areas. So let me know in the comments below, and I will post a link to a worksheet to kind of consider some life areas where maybe you need to think, is this something I need to let go of? And that's also point 3 in my 5-step formula of living your best life at midlife, is L, let go of what no longer suits you. So like I promised in other videos, in the future, we'll be talking about not only things you may be holding on to, like we're doing in this series, but more targeted ways to move past that and get to the solution instead of here's the problem, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, giving you solutions. And so if you're interested in those, like, subscribe, keep following. In the next video, I'll talk about the next thing that you may be holding on to. And let me know in the comments below too, if you feel like after watching this video, thinking through, are there things in your life that you feel like you need to let go of, that you're holding on to, that no longer suit you, that are roles that you're playing, like your reputation about yourself, that it's what you've held on to all this time, but it's not necessarily what you want to keep holding on to. So let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.